Guys, Ibrahim, today is May 7th. I'm going to just put this video up now for you guys, to share with you all. You see, the problem we're going to see like it today is because those who bear the greatest responsibilities, we always say, a lot of them, they're free and they're amongst us. And they even are leaders them amongst we. And that is why they are not remorseful for everything that was done in 1990 up until 2001 where the war be done. When I look this case of this guy, Dominic Ongwen, who was a rebel leader in Uganda. Now, Uganda, you get Yoweri Museveni, right? Yoweri Museveni don't be president of Uganda for over 30-something years. He just winning another election fraudulently again, where Bobby Wine lock him, put a house arrest in opposition, we contest against him for the presidency. Then guys, they take up arms, rightfully so, because we think they being oppressed and suppressed, but in do them the wrong way. They rape people, them kill people, cut people there and them, picking them, child soldiers, rape girl, picking them, all that stuff. Why am I sharing this with you guys? All I want to see, because what's different from what Guy do so that Uganda, what's different from what happened in Sierra Leone? It's no different.
Hello, I'm Christine Mundwa. It's good to have your company. A former commander in the notorious Ugandan rebel group Lord's Resistance Army has been convicted of war crimes and crimes against humanity at the International Criminal Court. Dominic Ongwen was found guilty of 61 charges over a reign of terror in the early 2000s. His crimes include murder, rape, sexual enslavement, and the conscription of child soldiers. He had denied all the charges. Ongwen surrendered to U.S. Special Forces who were hunting the LRA's founder in early 2015. He will be sentenced at a later date. He faces a maximum punishment of life imprisonment.
You have noticed that I skipped.
This is Dominic Ongwen. This trial has been years in the making, with thousands of witnesses providing testimony. Ongwen was a senior commander in Joseph Kony's Lord's Resistance Army after having been abducted himself by the group in his youth. Kony founded the group in 1988 amid widespread ethnic fighting in Uganda. The group committed rape, mutilation, torture, and murder as it moved across Uganda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the Central African Republic, as well as South Sudan. The International Criminal Court also heard hours of recordings of commanders ordering atrocities. LRA leader Joseph Kony is still at large, but the group is just a shadow of its former self now. Ongwen's trial has been a chance for victims to confront an ongoing trauma, the effects of which are still felt today.
And my first guest today is a former child soldier in the LRA and has since become an activist. Innocent Oponya joins me from Gladbach here in Germany. Welcome to DW News Africa. Innocent, I just want to begin by asking you how you were recruited by the Lord's Resistance Army.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I was abducted like they did to a lot of kids in northern Uganda. They come in the middle of the night, force you at gunpoint to join their movement. So I was forced at gunpoint with my shirt removed to walk with them. Besides my dad, the same night I was abducted is the same night my dad was abducted. Unfortunately for him, he couldn't make it and was killed that same night. I was forced to move with them to South Sudan, where I joined rest of other child soldiers and other soldiers fighting for the LRA. That's how I became part of the movement.
Tell us about some of the atrocities that you saw in your time with the LRA.
All your nightmares, everything you can imagine, happened within the LRA camps. From people being stepped on, just in a line of soldiers stepping on one child or one child soldier who disobeyed the command until he dies, to light bullets in battlefields, to all kind of beating and punishment when they find you listening to radios and the Amnesty broadcasting program, so that they always assume you are going to escape if you listen to these radio programs. So it was really almost every kind of punishment you would find with the NRA. But the worst that totally stood out was how they raped so many young girls that we were forced as child soldiers to abduct, and then the rebels choose and use as their wives.
Dominic Ongwen, he's just been convicted at The Hague for crimes he committed as commander of the LRA. How would you like to see the justice system deal with people like him?
You know, I would be an hypocrite if I tell you that I would judge him harshly, because I once was a child soldier myself, and the community welcomed me back. They didn't judge me. Dominic was abducted at the age of 14, as I learned. And of course, he fought the war that he also didn't understand like I did. It was forced against his will. So that is a point where I feel pity for him, where I would say he deserves forgiveness, the same amnesty that was given. On the contrary, he grew up, he grew old, and he had the ability to escape. But instead of escaping, he chose to lead his soldiers, the LRA, to go and carry out massacre in different camps, like in Bajule in 2013, where they killed 115 people one night. And in Lukori they killed, in 2004, they killed 69 people in one night, in different styles, using machetes, burning alive in grass-thatched huts, and doing all kind of activities under his watch.
Innocent.
They killed 100 and over people.
Right. Innocent, what have you done to cope with your past?
After I escaped the LRA war, I joined the World Vision Rehabilitation Center, where at first I didn't like it because I was forced to go there. But that turned out the most important thing that happened in my life, because through the rehabilitation center, I was taught the value of life, the meaning of forgiving and moving forward, the fact that I could still do more in my life. And since then, I vowed not to keep quiet, but to speak for different children who are still stuck in different wars that they don't understand. And that's why I've grown strong to be an activist for the voiceless, mostly children in war areas. So what helped me most was sharing with people, coming out and sharing the past that I really did not want to face again. And that is getting into reality and making peace with my past. And through that, I realized, yes, some people judged me when I started doing it, and some people felt sorry for me, but both of them were not what I was seeking for. All I was seeking for was a spiritual peacing, where I get to a point and say, this happened and I have to live with it, but I should make sure it doesn't happen to another child again.
All right, that is Innocent Oponyo. He's a former LRA child soldier who's now engaged in activism, as he's been telling us. We appreciate you coming onto the program. Thank you, Innocent.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Now, Ongwen pled not guilty. His defense argued that he himself was a victim because he had been abducted by the Lord's Resistance Army as a young boy and suffered psychological damage as a result. The judges rejected this defense. Let's have a listen to the presiding judge, Bertram Schmidt.
The overwhelming evidence paints a picture of Dominic Ongwen as a person in full possession of his mental abilities. He's described by his subordinates as an extremely capable fighter and commander whom they loved to follow. He planned his attacks carefully and assessed the risks together with his officers. The evidence also shows that Dominic Ongwen was not in a situation of complete subordination vis-à-vis Joseph Kony, but frequently acted independently and even contested orders received from Joseph Kony. He was not a puppet on a string.
I'm now joined by Oriam Nyeko. He's a Human Rights Watch Africa researcher based in Nairobi. Welcome to the program. It's great to have you here. What do you make of the judges dismissing Dominic Ongwen's defense that he himself was a victim because he was once a child soldier?
Well, what I took from that was the idea that the evidence that was presented during the trial was that Ongwen was very calculating and made decisions that he should be held accountable for to commit some of the abuses that his brigade and he himself individually committed. My interpretation was that it wasn't so much about him being formally abducted himself, but about the fact that he made those decisions as an adult who was fully aware of what was going on.
Right. I mean, we have to point out that this is the first time that the crime of forced pregnancy is considered by the ICC. How significant is that?
I think it's very significant because it takes cognizance of the impact of sexual and gender-based violence in conflict, and that was one of the big factors of what the LRA did during the 20 years in which the conflict raged. We heard Innocent talking about girls as young as 12 being forced into marriage and forced to have children, and this is something that really characterized that war. And it's obviously hugely important that people be held to account for those kinds of crimes.
The founder of the Lord's Resistance Army, Joseph Kony, he remains at large. Dominic Ongwen is really the only one to have been convicted in a court of law. Would you say that justice is far from being served?
I think justice, as far as the conflict in northern Uganda is concerned, is a very complex thing. There's many different dimensions to it. Criminal liability is one aspect of it, but there's also questions of reparations, of truth-telling, of reconciliation, which are all really important facets of the culture of the people of northern Uganda, and some of those things haven't been addressed, and of which it is the responsibility of the Ugandan government really to provide for. So I would say this is a very significant step towards achieving some aspect of justice, but it's in no way, I think, representative of the full spectrum of what justice can and should be for victims of that war.
All right, that is Orie Mnyeko. He is Human Rights Watch Africa researcher coming to us from Nairobi. Appreciate you being on the program. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Who was the leader in Sierra Leone? Who that child still calling him at the International Criminal Court? Ali Kaba. Who is Ali Kaba? Now it was the former UN representative of Sierra Leone to the United Nations. They don't pull now as ambassador in Egypt, close to Libya. So what is happening there? Then people there will commit all these atrocious crimes. They're still there amongst us. And that is why the SLPP continue to perpetrate this much harm and terror against the people. But so now this guy has bed convicted. Recently, they just convicted him at the International Criminal Court. And that is why Sierra Leone law continue to push for a case at the International Criminal Court. Not only for the killings at Makeni, because those are crimes against humanity, the massacre at Padeva represent, the Tombo, Lonsara, all of that. Those are crimes against humanity. And they are prosecutable by the International Criminal Court. That is what we're pushing for. So President Biyo and everybody involved in the killings that has gone on in the country the past few years, the past 3 years. And also we have to go back, not to Ibrahim Bazi Kamara for doing a jail and there. Then guy they only came 1999. So why we left all the people from 1990 we commit all these crimes, then they free, and then you get people like Ibrahim Bazi Kamara when only 1999 the AFRC, and again we didn't bring the AFRC because of this same Inganoman and the Kamajos them when they come for can take the place of the military. They begin kill military, then Sojaman them. The Sojaman themselves then go regroup and come to overthrow Tijankaba 1999. We go for a lot of history there and London story there. Now they take Ibrahim Bazi Kamara them. We save people like them Victor Ford them or all and then go pull them up at Pademba Road. They tell where they want for kill them because Tijankaba want kill them. Solomon Berry want kill them. Ibrahim Bazi Kamara then and then save them people in there and then look at what is happening and then go jail. Then you left people like the Ali Kabas, the Marabios, and everybody will go for found guilty of the annual rape and this war. We're responsible for the killing of our people. People and still they suffer the results of that war, and they should not go free the one way perpetrate this crime against our people. So we have to, as Sierra Leoneans, say, you know what, we have to bring these people to book. We have to bring them to justice. That is what we should all be pushing for in any your way, your own small corner way. They push for that, the prosecution of those who bear the greatest responsibility in Sierra Leone. Thank you.